Hi from Berlin. I am Marwa and welcome to Career Dynamo. Today, Simone, a sales recruiting consultant at Excellent Talents, shares tips to stand out in Germany's job market. From writing a great CV to networking and acing interviews, this episode has everything you need to land your dream job in Germany. Yalla. Thank you for joining us today, Simone. Let's jump right in. What are the essential components that every CV should include?
Of course. Thank you so much for having me today, Marwa. Um, I would say things that are important in every CV usually are, of course, like contact details that are very visible already on the CV, and of course, like your professional summary, such as like including your work experience, what you've done so far, and there, what I as a recruiter am really looking for is like um, information about your previous jobs, but for the relevant jobs for this position, it needs to be like detailed information. Like I really need to know what you were doing before. Um, what is becoming less important today, or like in the German job market, often is education, because a lot of recruiters actually say, "Hey, I don't care where you uh, achieved this and that skill, as long as you can perform the task." Um, so I would put that at the bottom, but I still like to just see, hey, that person studied there or did something there. But yeah, like for the job, it's not necessarily relevant. Um, these are for now, I think, the main points that I can think of.
Right. And how should candidates prioritize and structure the information on their CV?
Um, so on the CV, I would say like in most CVs that we receive or here in the German job market have like the reverse chronological order. So your latest job needs to be on top, um, and of course you need to highlight what's relevant in your CV. So make it maybe bold some certain keywords that are in there, and make sure maybe also to not write too long text, because like recruiters receive really a ton of CVs. So there it's important to really focus on what's important. Like I rarely read like a full paragraph in a CV. I just skim through it and look what for what's important.
Mhm. And how many pages should the CV include?
Yeah, like that depends also, I would say. Like when like I work at a recruitment company at Excellent Talents, and there it depends on what the client wants. If the client is looking for someone with like 20 years of experience, then that should also be visible in the CV. So there the CVs can of course be longer than 2 pages or something. If it's more of a junior or intermediate candidate, I would usually go for 1 page, maybe two, if but especially if it helps to like not have the page too cluttered, so that everything is clearly visible. So 1 to 2 pages usually.
Mhm. Right. And what are the most common mistakes you see on CVs and how can candidates avoid them?
hmm Um, like I'm thinking about it. Like I received one CV a few weeks or days ago that was actually very cluttered. Like I was talking about, like there were um, the formatting was super bad. So there was way too much information on one page, and you could not clearly make out, hey, where are the contact details of the candidate, or where is that skill that I'm looking for. Um, so really structure it well, of course, is like one important thing that I would say. Um, on the other hand, I also sometimes see CVs that are like where the candidate tried to stand out, and the design was then like a little bit crazy and very different, and that also makes it hard for the recruiter to screen the CVs, because like the recruiter is usually used to seeing like pretty much the same format, pretty much the same layout of a CV. And then if you change that up completely, then it also gets more difficult to like find the relevant things. So but at the same time, I also really enjoy seeing good design. So if candidates can find a balance there, I think that's great. Like use a format that people are used to, but then make it stand out. That's what I would say.
Mhm. And how can job seekers tailor their CVs for specific job applications?
Um, yeah, here I would say like really look into the job description. Like, what do you see there? What's important in there? And like then of course match it with your profile, with your CV. So for the jobs that you find relevant for this job, for this job description, I would say really there give more information about what you actually worked there. Name some keywords that are important in this job, and yeah, of course, just highlight what's important for this job. I would at the same time say, however, also don't like delete jobs that are not important. I would still say, because you don't want to have like any gaps in there, I would still say keep that in there, but not as detailed described. Just maybe the title and the company where you were. But yeah, focus on the important jobs.
And how important is it to include keywords? And how can candidates effectively do
Yeah.
this?
hmm for the keywords, I would say like maybe what's also important for candidates to know is like most companies use application tracking systems. So in there, it's like a big database of CVs uh, of the candidates that applied. So in there, the recruiter will actually look for certain keywords, and if they appear, then you're more likely, of course, to be invited to an interview. I would say then that it is, of course, very important. How can people do that effectively is definitely just, again, maybe look through the job description and look
Mhm.
for what are like important, yeah, important skills that you need there. Often on LinkedIn, you can also actually see like a list of skills that's required for that job. You can also actually just put those into your CV, and then you should be good to go. Of course, for the recruiter, when just reading through the CV, it's also again good to just highlight them, or maybe for certain skills, just have a list of skills and put your skills that are important for that job in there in that
Mhm.
list. Yeah, these are the main points I would say.
Great. Should candidates focus more on the responsibilities or the outcomes of their work?
hmm Good question. Yeah. Um, I would say more on the outcomes generally, because there you have more things that prove that you fulfilled that responsibility or that you did a good job. Because I think nowadays a lot of job titles include things like manager and so on and so forth, but
Yeah.
they don't have like a lot of responsibility then in the end. Or sometimes people just work on something, on a certain project, just for one day, just to help out there.
Mhm. Mhm.
And like that's also not necessarily a relevant responsibility. So I would definitely say focus on the outcome. And yeah, like if you can write in into your CV some numbers of what you achieved, that would be of course perfect.
Mhm. And what are some effective job searching techniques that you recommend?
Hmm. Um, Good question. Of course, like the classic ways for job searching are just through applying on LinkedIn or other job platforms. So in Germany, that would be like Stepstone or Indeed. Um, Other good, effective ways, job searching techniques would be, let me think. I mean, of course, you can also just contact headhunters directly because, I mean, I'm like one of them basically. So that's also one good idea to just look for then recruitment companies and text them, hey, I'm looking for this job. Here's my experience. Maybe just directly send your CV to them also. And because there, the great thing is that the headhunter, he wants CVs and he wants to match your profile to a company. So that does definitely make sense. And it saves you also a lot of time to search for jobs because you're outsourcing that basically to the headhunter.
Yeah. Mhm. And how important is LinkedIn in today's job market? And how can candidates optimize their profiles?
Mhm. I would say like I don't know how much people know about the recruiter side of LinkedIn because there it's pretty much again similar to the application tracking system. Like the recruiter there is like putting on a lot of filters and looking for a lot of keywords that are important for the job. Such as like the region or specific skills that you need, or also when you started working, like how long your experience is in that area. So here I would definitely say like add into your profile all the experience that you have, and also yeah, all the experience that you have, and include a description about it, like what did you do there precisely, and also add in as many skills, as many specific skills as possible, so that the recruiter, the headhunter, has the easiest job to find you. And yeah, then they will basically approach you.
Okay. And are there any other social media platform that can be useful for job searching?
Um, yeah, like of course in Germany, uh, less and less people are using it, but I would say you can still, of course, use it. Xing is like one of them. It's similar to LinkedIn, but it's more like there's more only German speaking people on there. Like it's more on in the German market, basically. Besides that, you can, I would say, basically, you can look for a job anywhere. Like because recruiters are also nowadays on many social media platforms, so you could also like put in your Instagram account if you're looking for a new job, because it could be the case that a recruiter stumbles upon that.
Mhm.
Um, Besides that, like I personally didn't really use it, but there's also Bumble. I don't know if you know this dating app. They also have a business function. So there you can actually swipe left and right with people that you want to connect and network with, like more in the business context. So that's also one option.
Mhm. And what are some effective ways to build and expand a professional network?
Um, Build and expand. And I would say definitely go to job fairs or networking events. So you just get to know people there, a lot of people actually, and really be proactive in approaching them. That's definitely important, and show them what value you have to offer to them. Um, so especially, I think like personally talking to people makes a huge difference because you can connect way more, and of course they keep you in their mind, and then you can of course definitely connect on LinkedIn, and yeah, like grow your network there, but like have a really good quality network then. Of course, at the same time, if you just want to go for quantity, you can just add as many people on LinkedIn as possible. Like that's also an option. Yeah.
Mhm. And how can candidates approach potential connections and recruiters without coming across as too pushy?
Um, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I would say a good candidate can never be too pushy. That's really what I would say. So in that case, you need to find the value again that you bring to the people or to the recruiter. So if you can communicate what value you bring to them, they will embrace you with open arms. Um, yeah, I would say that, but of course, at the same time, by not being too pushy, I think it's never too pushy if you just say, "Hey, I just saw your profile that you work at this company. My name is da da da. I'm currently looking for this and that job. Here's my experience." And then just send the CV also to them and just say, I would be very happy if you can have a look at my CV and let me know what you think. Or you could also, of course, like ask for help, basically. Like, how do you like your CV? What can I change about it? Like that way, you can also already just get in touch a bit.
Okay. And what are the key steps candidates should take to prepare for an interview?
Yeah, important question, definitely. The key steps candidates can take or should take for an interview is like research the company, of course. Like you can look on their website, on LinkedIn, or I mean on LinkedIn you can even look at what people work there, who are you most likely to work with then already. You can read definitely on Glassdoor or Kununu about the job, like what because oftentimes there's like experiences of people in a similar role, so you can already read about their experience there. And I think that way you can also understand the role more. Of course, study the job description very thoroughly. That's definitely important. And yeah, just practice questions that are very common all across in job interviews usually. Those are the main points, I would say.
Mhm. And how can candidates research a company and the role effectively before an interview?
Um, how can they research? I would say, I mean, like I said, definitely on the website. That's one important thing. You can just go through the website, look a bit at that, because like if you can show already in the interview that you know something about the company, that already makes a big difference because not a lot of people do their research. So that already impresses a recruiter then. Of course, look at LinkedIn, or maybe you can, if it's a bigger company, you can also maybe find some news about it, like how they're doing, whether there are any updates in their company. So uh, those are the main things I come up with right now.
Mhm. And what are some common interview questions candidates should be ready to answer?
Hmm. Yeah. So what I basically always want to know is like why, if they have a job currently or had a job before, like why do they want to switch now? Why are they now open for a new position? How did that happen? And why do they want to work for this company? Like what's
Mhm.
interesting about that? Um, Definitely things, of course you need to think about your strengths and weaknesses. Those questions will come up in different ways to say it, basically, that you need to be able to highlight that, like what you're good at, what you're less good at, or in that case I would say you need to highlight or frame it in a way that you say, hey, this is something that I'm currently working on. um, of course, also things like situational questions. So, hey, could you describe a situation where you like had a conflict in your team and how did you manage that? Something like that also.
Mhm.
Mhm.
What are behavioral and situational interview questions and how should candidates prepare for them?
Um, yeah, so behavioral and situational interview questions, like behavioral interview questions, there you basically want to know like how the candidate typically behaves in a situation, like what's typical for them. The like I think one of the typical questions there is like how do you deal with pressure? Like how do you behave in that case, especially
Mhm,
because then like the real person actually appears in front of you in those cases. Um, so yeah, and in terms of preparation for those behavioral questions, I think you really need to be self-aware in that case. So you can basically just maybe study yourself throughout 1 week and see how you behave in certain situations. Just write it down and be honest with it. Of course, you need to be ready to frame it in the most positive way possible then.
mhm, mhm. And can you give some examples of these types of questions and what a strong response might look like?
Um, yeah. So let me think about it. Um, Let me think about it. Yeah, maybe something like how would you manage a problem with a tight deadline? There you could basically just talk about the way that you prioritize um, and describe how you plan things, you know? So um, if I have this to do at the side, I would put that aside and prioritize this main task at first, and then, of course, when prioritizing, it's also very important to tell that you're a team player and that you can like give tasks also to the rest of the team. So you can help each other out because basically in most jobs people are looking for team players actually. Um, like if it goes into that direction, I would be very happy with it. Um, yeah, I sorry, I can't give you like a real proper formulation of how I would answer that currently, but that's
That's
basically
just
the
an
direction.
example. No, 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 no,
Yeah.
no worries. That's just an example to show
Hmm.
them. I think they can answer using STAR approach,
Hmm.
situation,
Hmm.
task, action, and
Yeah,
result. That's better to showcase the situation and how they act in such situation.
exactly. Exactly.
Mhm. What are some good questions candidates can ask the interviewer to show their interest in the role and the company?
Yes. So that's also super important because a lot of candidates don't do that, and then you don't really know that they're interested in the company or in the job at all. So what I think are really good questions are often just that you ask things like, "Hey, what will my day-to-day business look like? Who will I work for? Who's my supervisor?" And then interesting things are maybe also things like, "Hey, what's their leadership style like? How is the company culture there in general?" So you do definitely think of things that are important to you, of course, besides money, like also things that are important to you, like in the job, and how you like to work, and then definitely go for that. But I what I actually like is if the questions come throughout the interview, if that's possible, so that it's more of a conversation, less an interrogation. Yeah.
Mhm. And how important is it to follow up after an interview? What the best way to do so?
um I would say it is important, but of course it depends. Like from time to time, some recruiters do forget to contact you, and then you don't hear from them back. But like that depends. Like if the interview went really well, of course they're gonna contact you. If it was like a medium case, they might not sometimes, in the worst cases. So I think it is important, but you should do that. Maybe approach them on LinkedIn. You can
Mm.
also basically just give them a phone call if you have the phone. I don't think it's necessarily impolite. Like if you, unless you do that like every day, then that is maybe too much. But yeah, if you just wait, maybe because often recruiters will basically tell you, hey, these are the next steps. I will get back in touch with you. Let's say today is Friday, then on Monday, and then I would say, if you haven't heard from them on Monday, you can basically wait until like Wednesday and then maybe just ask them, hey, you wanted to give me some feedback on Monday. I really enjoyed the interview. Do you already have some feedback for me? Just wanted to know that. And I think that's basically very good.
Mhm. And how should candidates handle a situation where they haven't heard back after an interview?
hmm Um, I think that does happen. So of course you can, as I said, you can give them a call to the recruiter. You can basically also just um, give them a friendly reminder on LinkedIn. Just connect and just text them. Um, and I mean, also let them know that if it's a no, it's not a problem. Like it's business, you can deal with it. So yeah, but I think there's basically no wrong way as long as you don't do it too much, maybe.
Mm. And when is it appropriate to reach out again? And what should they say
hmm
if they already sent a message to the recruiter?
Okay, so like a follow-up message to the follow-up message then.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I would say,
Or it's not necessary to do it again. It's just one time.
just for one time. Okay. Yeah, I would say maybe like, yeah, if the recruiter said, hey, I will contact you on that day, and then like 2 to 3 days passed and you haven't heard back from them, of course you can just reach out to them again. Um, and I mean, if you don't hear back after that time, maybe I would give it like one last try, but then maybe it doesn't make sense to contact them again. So what I would say is basically, yeah, things like, hey, I really enjoyed the interview process. I think you asked good questions and I have a good impression of the company. You wanted to, I was just asking because you wanted to give me feedback by that time. If you could give me some feedback by now, because I'm really interested. And like one important point is maybe also if you are in other processes, in other hiring processes, you should also let them know that, because then they will hurry the process. Yeah. So
Okay.
because they don't want to lose a good candidate.
And my last question to you,
Mhm.
is the cover letter important?
No, I wouldn't say so. No.
You know that
um,
it's a big issue for us, for
really?
non-European people. Yeah, they
Okay.
all think that it's so important and I have to write a cover letter. So I need to know the last word from you.
Okay. Yeah. No. I definitely don't think so, because at least in the recruiter generation that I'm in, or in the people that I know, we never really read like those longer texts, or or
That's a
take
shock,
a
by the way. That's a
really.
shock for them. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Because,
mean,
I was a
yeah.
recruiter here for 2 years, but I prefer to hear it from you.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, like what I think is, I really look at the CV first, like at the important points in there. If that convinces me, then yes, I will read what everything else that the candidate has brought to me. Um, but besides that, if I already see, hey, the CV is not a fit, and I do have like a lot of CVs to screen actually,
Exactly.
I won't bother that much. I'm sorry.
But thank you. That's a good opportunity to tell them the truth. The cover letter
True.
is not important at all because the recruiters don't have the time to read
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
all the cover. We focus on screening the CV, the tasks,
Yeah.
the responsibilities, and the qualifications,
Yes.
and so on.
Yes. I
Thank you
mean,
so much. Ha,
maybe one last thing about that. Maybe if
sure.
if you're applying like at a really old company in Germany, then maybe that's different. Then of course you can include one. Um, but like at more younger companies or at more technological companies, I would definitely say that it is this way.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing this insight, Simon, today. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Of course. Thank you so much, Marwa. Thanks
You're
for having me.
welcome. And we're waiting for the comments
Hmm.
and their questions. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment or a voice message, and share it with someone who might benefit from these insights. Until next time, stay dynamic and keep driving your career forward with Career Dynamo.
Perfect. Thank you. Bye.